So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm a biomedical engineering. I love to present myself as a researcher. So the target of today is trying to present how the research applied and starting from mainly two topics that are data and knowledge, and the application. How these two main topics could be, of interest for the upcoming future. So I love to present myself with a short introduction about my history, personal history and experiences. I am a computer scientist, engineering and biomedical engineering. I worked in a research center that was co-founded by Ministry of Industry during my PhD. What does it mean? It means that the results of research have been always considered as a possible application in real life or in company for business targets. So the idea is trying to share with you what we did for this for the last 25 years. I've been working with physicians, so I worked in a clinical structure from 2002 until 2021. And what can be recognized as experiences is trying to apply technical solutions starting from data and knowledge for application in improving real life. We started, of course, improving processes in health structure, but as you can see by some example that I'm going to present, what we did is trying to release solutions that can be used in practical life. I love to present also the two main structure in which I passed my part of my last 20 years. And in particular, the target is about using data analysis processes, but also AI solutions to extract information and to support not only physicians, but as we will see, also citizens during their results. And of course, the experiences for researcher are always they must receive validation from international community, but of course the nice thing is to have what I always call prototypes. In particular, the research and the applications are always related to obtain something that we think that may be applied and used after, in general, 10 or 20 years. Last year, the Nobel Prize was given to three researchers, and these three researchers worked on protein prediction structure. And it is nice to see that it's something in which the international community worked in last 20-25 years, and this is one of the main interesting thing when you make research. You work on something that after 20-25 years it becomes real life. Structure prediction is what you hear that during the COVID pandemic period, because it's something related to the spike protein structure. This is an interesting movie that is Minority Report. I don't know how many of you had the possibility to have a look on it. It's 2002 movie in which during the one of the part of this movie you see the main the principal guy, that is Tom Cruise, going inside in a mall, and there is this lady saying in 2002 something like, you have the new collection of Boost that just arrived. I know that you are interested in this kind of goods. So this is something that is related to what we call as the personalization, is what you see on your social application. You have the social, you look on some interesting videos or information, and then you have your profile is targeted through this information. This is because research is what when the main topic of research is obtaining results. We started working on iPhone in 2007 with this jailbreaker at that time, and the idea was to share information, even biomedical images, through this period. So the main topic is starting, for instance, in clinical areas, starting from a requirements analysis, trying to improve and to enrich data set, biomedical images, biomedical signal, anticipating some heart attack or event in cardiological analysis, and enriching the information for clinician. This is one of the mainstream in hemodynamic room at the University of Catanzaro at that time, but we have one that we are trying to install even in the health structure here in Cosenza. And one of these the screen that you see in the top right part is a prototype that has been used to predict and to simulate the stent position during an hemodynamic cardiovascular intervention for the stent position, and so to reopen a vessel. This is a prototype that has been realized, and it works, and it's something as a result of the research. Why I'm stressing this part? Because I think that for this kind of presentation, the important thing is trying to give you some idea of how to implement solutions, starting even from research, but these solutions need to be applied. What I learned working with physicians is that if you give them some solution, then this solution should work. I mean, it can be used, and then it can be used to support and to improve their work. This is why I'm stressing this part, because to my PhD students, but even for the audience of today, I guess that the idea is trying to identify some topics that is sufficiently interesting to become a product, to become something that could be released and then realize some business. At the same time, here on the top right, you see the results of applying a mechanism to analyze PET images in cardiological, still in cardiological application. Here we study the drug delivery results. So you can see that biomedical activities has been mainly based on getting results. Getting results, it means having something that can be used. And we go from rehabilitation to data analysis, signal analysis, and even to epidemiological and behavior analysis. What does it mean? It means that if you analyze the environment and you analyze the behavior of a citizen at the same time of a patient, then you can enlarge the time window analysis part, and then you can offer some information that could be useful. Please consider that the main topic is always related to data. When I think and then when I talk about data, so please think to the huge company such as Meta, such as Google, such as the company maintaining social network as TikTok, as YouTube. In this case, the main the majority of the entrance is related exactly to the fact that even the WhatsApp management is related to data. So please consider that this is the main target. So starting from this point, if you are interested in translate experiences in some application for biotechnology based solution, please consider that you should start from the analysis of the problem. So starting from the bottom part. In case of clinicians, start from the bottom. In case of data analysis for biological part, still consider what you have and consider what you can do with this data. And as we will see at the end of this presentation, there is a main idea that is related to the fact that we can still change our habits by introducing new applications. This can be done, for instance, by analyzing biomedical images. This is an interesting tool that has been realized by working, so translating the research-based intuition with application with company in a project. This is a company that is has been working with us, and of course is business oriented, is not research oriented. So the idea is to define the possibility of simulating a surgical intervention in a patient with that require a cancer removing. Of course, this means that we should define also targets and also application that could, relate people with the application at the same time. We started here by analyzing the voice signal and associating what are the pathologies that could be related to the status of your vocal probes. Of course, we did it starting with neurological analysis, or we focused on otorhinolaryngomatoid related ones, but we arrived in analyzing at a large scale voice analysis system. So what I'm telling is that so many times you speak in a room, and then sometimes Siri or the Samsung based AI tool of your mobile say something like, I was not able to answering to your question. So what does it mean? It means that we may use the fact that we speak and we can train AI-based mechanism. What is the target? To identify in a early stage the status of your voice and the status of your pathologist. Think that in 2020, when there was the pandemic event, one of the early detection index for breathing problem related as an alarm for upcoming COVID for the patient was related to the fact that you may find a breath that is not normal when you speak. So the voice analysis is one of the main targets in which I suggest you to go in deep for possible application, as well as the epidemiological related ones with an analysis of the life status. What does it mean? That one of the targets of our research is focusing not only on patient set, but focusing on the life quality style. That is the same direction of the topics that has been treated before by my colleagues. Stefano talked about traceability. I will show you something in this direction. Of course, my point of view is related to enrich the possibility to access to information by physicians, but of course, this is something that we can still reuse. Again, in case of telemedicine application, that is something that has been boosted with the necessity of controlling remotely. This is an example of the region of the Veneto region that has been applied at biosurveillance mechanism in which data and parameters has been monitored for patients before they may go through the surgical rooms, and there has been a lot of application. And of course, still about data, we may analyze data not with a physician's point of view, but we can propose application. What does it mean that we may propose application? Well, this is one of the topic in which I've been working with one of my PhD students that, well, now he completed the PhD still in Boston, the Massachusetts General Hospital, and with colleagues that works on nuclear medicine. If you can see here what technical solutions and application can be applied for. When I perform a magnetic resonance, you are obliged in using gadolin as as an isotope that could be used to enrich the images in magnetic resonance. No, you have this contrast that is injected to the patient. Well, what we realize is that possibility of extracting information from the magnetic resonance and predicting, so the PET images. In this case, you have here on the right the predicted image and the the measured one. As you can see, it is impressive, the relations and the minimal differences that you can have. What does it mean? It means that we do not want to substitute the clinicians, but there are some places where this is not possible to realize. So you can use magnetic resonance images for applications. What does it mean? Please think about what is your topic. The topic is trying to think about solutions. We got all these tools and we try to implement solutions. Again, rehabilitation processes in this case is an experience that we performed. This has been realized fully with the 3D printers and with some Arduino-based solutions. Of course, there is a lot of solutions that could be by physicians, but also by patients. But what can you do? You can personalize the applications to give the possibility to a patient to perform rehabilitation for problem with, in this case, with the hands. Again, you can boost up the prediction. That is what we did. In which scenario are you working on? We are working in a scenario in which the numbers are growing up in an exponential way. And when I'm talking about still data, please consider that you are changing your behavior even when you watch a movie or when you do something. I mean, you use your mobile phone for reducing time interval in the process, and this influences, of course, even all the habits. We go to the surgery, to the emergency room in a much more frequency. Higher frequency and possibility, because it's much more possible to reach the structure. We are able to get information in a faster way. So what does it mean? It means that the information now is something that we use, and we should optimize, and we should be able to consider the transaction with a higher frequency. Of course, in the health-related systems, the quantity of data is high, and is also related to behavior of food-related habits, sports, rehabilitation, and all topics that are related to quality of life. What can we do with this data? For instance, the thing that you can do is using mechanism for clinical data analysis. RedCap is one of the main diffused application for clinical protocols data analysis. Here at the University of Calabria, we have one of the working platform, and has been analyzing data for clinical studies. What does it mean? Supporting physicians in a main and rapid analysis of the data. I think that I can also try to give you an example of what this RedCap means. So this is my the application. As you can see, each of these one are clinical project, and when physicians collaborate with one of the of this activity, then it is possible for physicians to entry in one of these project. In this case, we have information about baseline clinical data, laboratory, imaging, procedural data. So this is a real-time analysis. When you see here, you have one of the part of the data in which you may have the patient ID, the follow-up, the monitoring of the patients, the results of applications of drugs, the analysis in deep of some well-defined structure. Why I'm presenting also this example? I'm not sure to to get your attention about your background, but what I can say is that this is one of the topics that you may consider when you think about what we can do with data. What we can do with data, of course, we can associate information about some protocols, some tests. We may use wearable data, and this wearable data could acquire data from patients. Think for a post-surgery patient that has been released and now is at home. You can monitor the data in this direction. You can acquire the information. And this is another very important thing that you could consider for your future. Please consider that social networks work perfectly because there is, an equilibrium among the user and the quantity of data that you insert. But the important thing is who is going to type data and who is going to insert data. People inserting data is the main results. There is no, company guys that are inserting data, but it's the user that insert data because can receive benefits. So this is the same idea. You have to, collapse the idea of centralized data. You have to release, and you have the possibility of using such information for further analysis. And consider that when you think, this is an Italian part, the creation is very simple, but the data insertion is performed by a divided imperant protocol in which you have physician, you have students, you have the same patient that is interested in inserting data, and you will have it of course, on cloud. And if you decide to implement your idea in a company, this data will arrive for free. That is a very relevant aspect. There are some examples. Of course, once I have the data, I can extract the data from electronic patient records. We have some activity in this direction in which, the automatic extraction is performed. What does it mean? It means that I may be able to analyze the data in a very quick way to see the efficiency of health structure. Today, with the exponential growing quantity of data, it is not possible anymore to to perform in a not perfect way. So, and if you think to emergency condition, making some errors, not gathering the information in a correct way, means that we may have problem with patient, but also with citizen life. And what RedCap is able to perform some dashboard in a real-time way. It can activate information about trigger and so on. In this scenario, of course, we cannot avoid to consider what European Commission is performing, and in particular from March 2022, we have the European Health Data Space that includes all the rules that are necessary to give the possibility to a patient, to a citizen that is moving from one country to another to share the data. But the interesting thing is not only the problem of the emergency. The interesting thing is that if you put your data in a community and this data can be used by research association, then you may have the possibility of analyzing the data and to gathering results and to be much more fast in obtaining results of drug applications. Think to the possibility of having a vaccination process, so vaccine in a short time, because all the data were available in the pandemic area. So all the things should be organized and well managed under a big hat that is the European part. So this is something that you should also focus on if you want to manage about the data. About the telemedicine, we discussed it already. But of course, we may also associate the analysis of the signal, not only for the voice and for the neurological part, but also related, for instance, for the ACG analysis. So things, for instance, that you still have room in the application where, for instance, you have extreme case when you have football soccer player that had a head attack, but he was under control, fully monitored, but nevertheless you had the problem. So in this case, the signal analysis in our case has been used to extract information, hidden information for extreme case, but this can be of course used. So the application in digital area start from the possibility of having data, information, and the possibility of applying technological results and to obtain activity. Last but not least, you may apply in each project results that we use it. You may use the application. For instance, the activity that we are performing with Professor Curcio is the ones that we have these results. For instance, we have this application that can be used by the final consumer that wants some information about what kind of milk is reading. This is a working application, and this is a work results that we have. And if you buy a milk, you may have information about the quality of the milk obtained by the analysis that you realize. This is something that works since I think 2020, 2019. You have the process that's been completely renewed in this farm that was the main contractor of the results, and you may have all the process about the production, but also about the processes of the analysis that has been performed. Why I'm showing this? Because this is an example of what you can do when you start from the idea, use the research, you arrive in the application. And of course, one of the target of the applications that we are using, also working with Professor Curcio, is introducing and applying blockchain solutions in this real case. Similarly, the same has been performed for agricultural products, in which you have the possibility of making traceability and to mapping also the results in terms of landscape application. This is something that we are moving in a startup company that will work on health-related and health-related topics of interest for the quality of life of a single user, that so it can personalize the application. And so, what is the final target that I see in the next future? I gather these two figures from Professor Sumi Elal that I thank for his talk that gave here. But of course, we share this idea. What is the idea? The idea is that you may have a condition in which, when you use your mobile phone, since 20 years, since last 10 years, you use your mobile phone because you are guided in your choice. I use my mobile phone to see what is happening, to gather information, to see news from the social, to have information about traffic, to have information as soon as possible about my health status also. I monitor my parameters, but this is something that is already present and that it's already implemented. So now think about the possibility that I'm going to hit a pizza, and by using my camera, I got the information from about the nutrition, and of course I connect this information in a personalized target, in which the system is able to provide information about the status of my body in this condition. So a sort of mineral analysis about um, blood status, about parameters, and then saying something like, hey, maybe tonight is much more better, do not eat entirely your pizza because your body in this moment has a condition that is not exactly the one. And this can be used if we put all together the here is the thanks to Sonia Aloud. And this is possible because we can put together all the information that we have, information that comes from traceability, information that comes from food, information that comes from habits, information about the status that is not necessarily related to an health-related analysis for patients. So focusing on citizen, think about the possibility of giving your contribution in terms of data, giving your contributions in terms of information that can be used directly by single citizen that of course is interested in writing down data to improve the quality of his personal life. I conclude by sharing with you what a nice thing that last year, a colleagues of mine, a physician from Tor Vergata University, asked me to write down, a possible topic in a divulgative book that is about the possibility of using technologies to improve the quality of life. So I wrote a contribution about using AI models to predict and to improve the condition for a better life to reach the the retiring states for each persons in optimal conditions by analyzing all information that we already have. The only things is that we should be able to insert and having the availability for possible interesting tools. That's it. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And if you need any suggestions or link, or just you want to chat, just write me an email. I will try to write it here in chat. And if there are some questions, I'm